Brian Kilmeade is going to talk with Fox News pundit Kevin Jackson about terrorism in America, and they're going to bask in their counterfactual assertions.
At least according to the New York Times, it's just published a study from the New America Foundation claiming 48 recent deaths, including the Charleston massacre, are linked to right-wing extremists, while only 26 deaths are linked to Muslim extremists. And they call the report nonpartisan. Joining us now to break it down, Kevin Jackson, the executive editor of The Black Sphere and author of The Big Black Lie, and retired Las Vegas Police Lieutenant Randy Sutton is the author of A Cop's Life and national spokesperson for the American Council on Public Safety. All right, let's start with you. Kevin. Do you have a problem with this study?
Oh, it was the biggest hack job I've ever seen, Brian. First of all, let's define what is considered right-wing or left-wing, terrorism or extremism. And in the case of, for example, Dylan Roof, they've just thrown him over into the right because he passed by a right-wing building or something. I don't know how they define that. Dylan Roof is a product of the left wing. He's a product of their education system, and firmly, as much as they want to blame it on the right, as far as I'm concerned, you can look at everything that he's done, and it absolutely adds up to leftism. How
many pro-Confederate liberals are there? How many? Curious. Here, I'll tell you. Zero! What the fuck is wrong with you? He said, I got my belief system from the Council of Conservative Citizens. It wasn't the Council of Liberal Citizens. It was the Council of Conservative Citizens. And by the way, that's CCC, which sounds a lot like KKK. I wonder if that was on purpose or not. We don't even need to speculate on that because we know it is. Because that group was formed to fight desegregation. He's like, yes, I am a conservative. I believe in the Confederacy, I believe in white supremacy, I believe in Rhodesia, I believe in apartheid South Africa, I am a right-winger. My group that I got my beliefs from is the Council of Conservative Citizens. Point me in the direction of the Dylan Roof blog where he argues that we should expand Medicaid, have a single-payer healthcare system, and stop the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know you can't do it. You know you can't do it because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You can't name me a single liberal belief this guy had. But this is the classic Fox News trick. You don't need any facts, Even if it's the clearest example of extremism and terrorism on your side of the political spectrum, you go, I blame it on the liberals. I blame it on the liberals. Why? Because they're liberals. You know, something, education system, yada, yada, liberals' fault. And this slides by. They pass this off as news. This is news. It's unbelievable. That's not only like saying, by the way, as some people have, and I've gone after them when people say, well, the Islamic State isn't Islamic. They're fucking telling you they're Islamic, you idiots. And a lot of progressives have said that, and I've gotten mad at them. It's not only like saying that, though. It's like saying, hey, the Islamic State is Christian. That's the argument they're making. The Islamic State, they're Christian. Why? I say so. That's what that's like saying. Yeah, Dylan Roof, who says he's a conservative, he's a liberal. Well, I don't know. I just said it. That's all. I can say anything, and that's it. In the mind of people who don't care about truth, they say anything, and it immediately becomes what is in their own mind. You don't see when you and I talk, we have a filter, and you try to categorize things. Is what I'm saying true? Is what I'm saying false? And you try to make everything accurate and steer it in the direction of true. Okay, that comment, then I'll make this comment, then I'll make this comment, because you care about reality. With these guys, there is no consideration for that. There is no filter. That's not the way they talk. They think that, well, you know what? I'm speaking for a higher truth, which is liberalism is bad, so I will ignore the empirical facts of this situation and the objective reality, and I will just make my bigger point, which is liberalism is bad, so if I say it, it's true enough to say Dylan Roof is a liberal. Well, he's not a liberal, and you're dead wrong. And then also, I can't get enough of because how many times have we heard this on Fox News? Do you have a problem with this study? I don't give a fuck if you have a problem with the study. It's a study. Now, you can say, hey, study X has problem X, and I can point to something specific. The methodology is fucked up. It wasn't double-blind. There's a bias in terms of the funding. Those are all fair criticisms. But they didn't make any of the fair criticisms when it comes to a study. They just said, hey, do you have a problem with it? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't give a fuck if you like it or don't like it. Why should your opinion override data? By the way, they make it seem like the group just made it up. X amount of terrorist attacks from these people, X amount from that people. Where'd you come up with that, Steve? I don't know. rolled some dice and picked the numbers. Well, what the fuck do you want me to tell you? They didn't do that. It's facts. They looked through the historical record and they went, counted. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here are the right-wing attacks. Here are the Muslim attacks. Now, again, it's not like there aren't fair criticisms of the study. There is. You could say, well, Muslims are a much smaller percentage of the U.S. population, so they're overrepresented in terms of how small a percentage of the population they are. That's a fair criticism to make, and that happens to be true. But that doesn't mean that, therefore, everything in the study is bullshit. That doesn't mean that, as a raw number, conservatives don't commit more terrorist attacks. They do! They do! And then another criticism I've heard is, well, that's after 9/11, so that's ridiculous. You can't factor that in. And again, that's a fair criticism. Yeah, if you factor in 9/11, it changes completely. The casualty numbers, absolutely. But what they're not telling you is, go a step further. There's a Department of Homeland Security study which took into account 9/11 and looked from the early 90s until 2009. It was a study commissioned under the Bush administration. Even under that study, they said, yeah, there are more instances of right-wing terror attacks and attempted right-wing terror attacks than there are Muslim terrorist attacks in America. It's a different story if you want to talk about overseas. Overseas, the threat is from Muslims, not from right-wingers, okay? But here in America, the threat is from right-wingers, and it's a fact. But on Fox News, that suffices for commentary. Do you have a problem with these facts? Yes, I do. Fox News in a nutshell.